In this episode, we will talk about are Filipinos greedy? The short answer is yes, but let's take a look at some examples and specifically why it's petty greed. Ascofa says, are Philippines people really petty greed? I settled in Lapu-Lapu City and spend most of the time in Lapu-Lapu. I've noticed that people here often refuse to do some tiny gestures of a goodwill that completely usual in other countries, like sharing a cigarette, a glass of water, or Wi-Fi for free. Sometimes they obviously lose their benefit because of that. For example, one refuses to share Wi-Fi as you don't want to pay 5 pesos for it, even assuming you refuse to buy lunch from him that costs 100 pesos, that you would buy it not so irritated. I wonder if people have the same habits on other islands, or it is a unique feature in Mactam. The short answer is Filipinos are poor. They don't want to give anything, even though it may benefit them in the long run. For example, a cafe sharing their hotspot even, not getting extra internet, but simply sharing their hotspot for whichever customer comes in. But the truth is most Filipinos will loiter, hang around because they themselves have no Wi-Fi at home. That's just a simple explanation. And a lot of times, Filipino staff at restaurants or cafes don't have the authority to do anything. Even something simple for a regular customer is unbelievable. Big Cat Frank says, I was shocked when a shop where I often buy groceries weighed a tiny chili pepper and charged me 3 pesos. Imagine being a shop owner and having a regular customer that buys from you often, but yet wanting them to pay for a single chili. Do you think that customer will come back to your shop again? Now you've lost a customer who shops there regularly because you are too cheap and greedy to give away 3 pesos. Able Equivalent says, you'll go nuts if you try to make sense of anything here. It's best to just roll with it. That's one way, because most foreigners simply check out. They cannot handle the nonsense that happens on a regular basis in the Philippines. Your entire day will be a headache if you actually start or try to start to make sense of why Filipinos behave a certain way. Many people might say, well, that's just the way it is. Or, if you don't like it, go back to your country. But what they fail to understand, sometimes it's not that easy. And a lot of times, it's just human nature. It's not asking for a specific procedure or a crazy way of doing something, but basic humanity, like giving a cup of water with a meal, or having service water in a restaurant, which is by law required, but yet many restaurants do not provide. Why would I pay more than my meal for a soda? Makes no sense. Another way, they want to rip you off. In the Philippines, that's all it is, a rip off. Hot Improvement says, I wouldn't call it petty greed, more of a short-term mentality. Ask most Filipinos if they would rather be given $100 now or $300 in 1 month, and most will take the $100 now. This is the same mentality of the guy who won't let you use his Wi-Fi for free, even though not sharing is a loss of 100 pesos. I think the people you are dealing with asking for cigarette are probably random people on the street and just see you as a source of income, as they will never see you again. This is the same in many countries. Damn, go to Egypt, you cannot even ask somebody directions without them putting their hand out for money. But let's call them poor and opportunistic rather than accuse them of penny pinching or petty greed. Cupcake Secure says, it's how rules are followed without question. If the boss says don't give the Wi-Fi to people unless they pay 5 pesos, then that's the rule for everyone, and it cannot be broken. Rules are frequently badly taught out, but also rules are passed one from person to another. The nuance is lost along the way. Also, on nuance, there isn't much scope in the language. There's only about 25,000 Cebuana words in active use compared with 170,000 English words in active use. The resolution of what's being said is lost, less clear. For these reasons, and I'm sure others, misunderstandings frequently occur. By the way, this is one of the main Reasons: the Philippines has an English legal system 6 to 7 times more precise language. Of course, blame the greed on a language barrier, typical way of defending the Filipino. The truth is, nothing makes sense in the Philippines. What should be a straightforward thing ends up taking you 3 or 4 times the amount for no absolute reason. I will give you an example. I asked the head office for something. They told me they will message me through WhatsApp and told me to have a seat. It was simple, just to take a read of the meter. I'm sitting there for over 15 minutes and yet they still did not send me a simple photo. I asked, let me walk back there to look for myself, and they said no. So I asked, send me the picture now, I have things to do. At which point the woman got up, took a photo, and then sent it to me on WhatsApp. Think of that. Imagine if I didn't get up and continue to sit there, it would have been 20 minutes, 30 minutes. How long would I have to wait? They have no common sense. No matter what she was doing, unless she was saving the life of another individual that was laying on the ground, she should have simply taken a photo and sent it to me first. Prioritizing or multitasking is not part of Filipino culture or their mentality. Simple things in restaurants, cafes will have you scratching your head. Things that make absolutely no sense. They have security guards at the front of every single store, 7-Eleven or Krispy Kreme, or random places that do absolutely nothing. What is the point of that? Makes no sense to me. And then I walked out with 3 filled bags of 4 to 5,000 pesos worth of groceries, but they wanted to see my receipt, even though I was making eye contact with the security while paying that amount. They have no brain cells. I now simply walk through without showing shit. They can chase me down if they want to see my receipt that I just paid for. Nothing in the Philippines makes sense. Wi-Fi in airports don't work. Why is that? How can I do anything? Because they want to scam you. They don't want to pay for the Wi-Fi, and there's a limit of about 3,000 passengers on their system at once if we are speaking about the main airport in Manila. Also, they want to sell you internet at the actual airport instead of you buying it for probably 1/5 of the price at an actual retailer inside the city. Everything in the Philippines is designed to make you miserable and to extract as much money from you as possible. Nothing makes sense. Everyone wants follow your money immediately, the hands in your pocket without having to put any effort. Sometimes they don't understand if they simply provide the service, Western nature is to tip. They probably would make so much more money if they simply did their job properly, but they leave people frustrated and walk away. So, is it greed or simple poverty and just low IQ? You tell me, what story do you have regarding Filipino greed? The best comment from yesterday of why are Filipinos always late is from Solar Guy. A bar owner friend asked me to go to Panglao and interview 2 girls applying for employment at this bar. They were 2 hours late. They thought nothing of it and were bewildered when I said the interview was over. The worst comment is from V. Galinar. Better late than about 70,000 dead per year due to fentanyl. OD. Most likely the vlogger is on fentanyl too. And I wish you will OD soon, and I will be very happy jumping like a late person. Imagine saying that Filipino culture is late and somebody wishing you to no longer be alive. This is the typical Filipino mentality and low IQ on display. Thanks for listening. God bless.